Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Galactic Girl back with another video. Filming this on Halloween, so happy Halloween. The timing could not be more perfect as I'm going to be talking about shadow work. And there is a Scorpio new moon on the 1st. So, Scorpio has a lot to do all about the shadow, and I believe that the veil is thinner during Scorpio season. I think that you guys can access like a lot of higher dimensions and lower dimensions during this time. I just think that the veil is very thin at this time, as Scorpio kind of has to do with the underworld. So the timing cannot be more perfect. I personally have not been able to film as much because I have been doing my shadow work. So, yeah, let's get into it so you guys are on the same page as me. Um, Anyone has a shadow, everyone has a shadow. It is essentially the part of you that you repress, the part of you that you push away, the shameful parts of you that you don't want to address. So, for me, I have a lot of shadow work that stem from my childhood, and that is essentially where I do most of my shadow work. The things that I was conditioned to believe, the experiences that I went through. Especially when you're a child, you do repress most of that because you are trying to protect yourself. It is a protection mechanism that you do as a child just to get through life because you can't understand those things really. Um, but yes, it is essentially a part of us that we all have, and I think it's very important work to do, very important to be integrated with your shadow. Just as we have lots of different selves, we have our shadow self, we have our higher self, we have our inner child, we have our inner adult, we have our divine feminine and our divine masculine. In this realm, duality really helps us to identify and categorize things. At the end of the day, everything is just molecules, just atoms. We really are all just one in this universe. But in order to truly experience um, space and time, we have to have this dual understanding of the world in order to move through it better, to have some separation from one another in order to come into unity with ourselves again and with each other. So understanding duality, obviously, it's a very heavy concept, and I'm going to be getting into it more and more as these videos go on. But your shadow self and your higher self is really a great way to kind of understand the dichotomy of yourself, the duality of yourself, and just what it means to be a human in this lifetime. I did want to share a quote that I found. It's Carl Jung, great psychologist who kind of created this idea. I don't know if any of you guys were forced to read uh, Hyde and Jekyll or whatever. Um, that story really talks about it. It's basically about this guy who has two split personalities, and that was kind of the beginning of the split personality kind of concept. But really, it is also kind of a representation of who you are, who you present to the world, who you want to be, and then who you are maybe when you're alone, or those parts that you repress. And this quote says, everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. If an inferiority is conscious, one always has a chance to correct it. So, this quote is basically a great example of why it's so important to be familiar with your shadow self. Because if you don't know your shadow, it will control you. It will get triggered so easily, and it will be brought out so easily. So that's why it's really important to understand your shadow and nurture your shadow. It is not something to be afraid of or be repressed. It is a integral part of who you are, and it's not a bad thing. Every one of us goes through challenges in life. Every one of us has opposition and hardship. Every one of us has triggers. Um, no matter how amazing your life is or how great your life is, you still get triggered by things. And if you're someone who has childhood trauma, it can be really scary because you'll get triggered and this version of you comes out and it's so unfamiliar and you're like, who, what is happening to me? Like, you feel you have no sense of control, you feel like it's not you, and it's really scary because you always want to be in control of who you are and what you're doing and the way you impact others. But if you aren't aware of your shadow, it can be really scary because that shadow can be triggered like that. And then you're acting in ways that you would never act, your conscious self would never act. So, this is really why I wanted to bring this topic up, to give you a better understanding of yourself and a better understanding of how to navigate when that shadow self gets triggered. So, yeah, this can feel really scary, very overwhelming at first. I mean, you're facing all the things you don't want to face. And I'm gonna go ahead and put today's channeled song is Danger by Death Pact. Guys, I think I'm gonna do a channeled song for most of my videos because that is where I receive so much information from the divine. Music is truly one of the best thing on earth, I will say. One of my favorite experiences in life is music, and so I listen to it all the time. And when I'm meditating, I receive these messages. Um, so yeah, the song is "Danger" by Death Pact. I'll link it, of course, but it just says where there's darkness, there's danger. And that is kind of why we can feel so afraid of our shadow self, because we are like scared we're gonna get hurt, and that is the whole point. So fear is just the anticipation of pain, and so we are afraid of our shadows because we have to look at that pain and really look at the root of where everything is coming from. So if there's something you've been repressing, when you do that shadow work, you are almost essentially like opening up a wound again that is already healed. But the wound is scarred, it's still there, it's not fully healed. So that is why you kind of like go back into the wound, really feel those emotions, let those emotions pass through you, understand that, it's okay, everyone goes through hard things, but it's not okay to not act like it's not there, and it's not okay to not take accountability for the mistakes you made and own up to them. And you know it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of righteousness to be able to do that, but once you do that work of accepting what you've done and who you've hurt, and maybe you've hurt yourself or sabotaged things because of that wound, it it gets less powerful. It's not as powerful because it doesn't control you, because you have forgiven yourself for it, or you've let it go, or you've said, you know what, I made that mistake, but I'm human and I'm here to learn and I'm here to improve. And it gives it less power. It's just like, okay, it's okay. Like, I can move forward from this. And then you go through life a lot more flow, a lot less resistance, because you don't get triggered as much by those things. Um, and then also, once you are in tune with your shadow, when you get triggered, it's less overwhelming because it's, what it is, the source, and you can say, like, okay, it's this thing, this I'm projecting onto this person because of this thing from the past. And projection is a really important part of shadow work, because relationships teach us about ourselves. Like I said, we're all one, but we need another person in order to reflect back to us aspects of ourselves that we have lost, or that we desire, or that maybe we don't want to be like at all. We kind of need that reflection of others to help us um, get more in tune with our higher selves and with the most optimal um, timeline that you want to be living. So projection is just so important because you don't want to assign behavior to people that don't deserve it. So this is something that I have been working through right now, and I'm not gonna lie, I get off work and I will cry in my car on the way home sometimes because it hurts. Like shadow work, it hurts, and life is painful, and it's not always, rainbows and sunshine, but that's what make the good moments so good, is because it's not all the time. And so yeah, I've been going through that and really trying to clear this energy because it's much deeper. It's not just that person, it goes back to my childhood and back to my family's ancestors and the lineage that gets passed down. So it's just important to realize if you are projecting onto others, because that's also when the shadow can play a lot with projections. So just something to be mindful of with your shadow. It comes out, mine I know mostly comes out in relationship to others. I can be fine alone, like I'm good alone, like I love being alone, but that's because it's safe. But when I am around others, then my childhood wounds get triggered, and then I have to face things that I don't want to face. But it's healthy, it's healing, because as I look at that reflection of them, and then I look back in, and then I can say, oh, this is where it's coming from. Find the source. I can feel the pain that I was repressing in that moment in order to survive, and then I can let the pain pass through me, and then it doesn't have as much control over me. It gets cleared, and it's less controlling, and then I'm able to um see that person who triggered that with a love that is unconditional, because it's not their fault. You know what I mean? So yeah, I hope you guys are picking up what I'm putting down about the whole projection thing of others and why it's so important to be intentional with your energy. And so I just kind of want to talk about this in a way that is a little bit more amusing, because I love visuals and I love stories and I love fantasy, and I love archetypes as well. So, you know, in most like children movies, there's the hero's journey, and they go on this journey, and there is a story, or there is a part where about um yeah, I would say like 3/4 of the way or halfway or whatever, they have to go on this quest. And let's say they have to go into these woods that are really dark and scary, and they have to go and face the enemy or sneak into some castle and steal some sort of prize and be hidden, and just basically the fear is really there. So I want you guys to think about that when you're doing your shadow work. You are the hero in your own story, and you are going on a quest to a dark land, a dark territory where you don't know what's gonna come up, you don't know what's gonna happen, you don't know what you might face, but once you come out of it, you come back with a precious gem or a hidden treasure. And I think what is so beautiful about this is it's so personal. It really is so personal. It's something only you can understand about yourself. And obviously, you can communicate this with others and talk about this with others. It helps um, alleviate some of the pressure, talking about it with others. But it truly is such a personal journey. And I think that's what's so rewarding about it. It's like it's just for you. It's not for your ego, it's not for the world, it's not for, I mean, it is for others, because when you heal yourselves, you can show up for others in a more beautiful way. But I just really love that part about it. It's just so personal, and the treasure that you come back with is personal, and what you find in that darkness is personal. And I think that um, our when we ignore our shadow, we get triggered so much to a point where something is going to manifest that will cause you to look at it and you'll have no choice. I mean, I can speak to this personally. This last year, um I was not looking at certain aspects of myself, and something happened and it said, you have no choice. This is a part of your upbringing, a part of your character. And I was really grateful that the universe showed me that, because now it doesn't hold so much weight over me, and I'm not completely free of it, because some things, the wounds are so deep that it takes lots of work and lots of time. It's not like it's cleared automatically after one meditation session or whatever. But I was really grateful for that to happen to me, so that I could look at myself more clearly and really honor all parts of myself, and especially the parts of myself that are hurting, and really make sure to nurture those parts. So I'm going to link a description, or I'm going to link a meditation in the description that has really helped me with shadow work. Guys, this meditation will have you bawling your eyes out. But I promise you'll feel so much lighter after. I think it's a great place to start with shadow work. Obviously, there's so many sources out there now about this, so you know, feel free to roam the internet to get more familiar with this idea. But this is kind of just a general introduction to it, and just an invitation for you guys to get in touch with that part of yourself and foster a relationship with it. Um, I will say I have integrated my shadow a lot this year, and understanding it, and I think that it has really made me so much more powerful. I can source things from it that are healthy and not the other way around. So, highly encourage you guys to do this work. I know it's easier said than done, but again, the only way out is through. The light is at the end of the tunnel, so you just have to get through a little darkness in order to find that um, light, to find that gem, to find that understanding and comfort with yourself. So, I think that's it, you guys. I hope you have an amazing Halloween and an amazing Scorpio season.